and welcome to UHAS McGinley Stadium in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. I am Adam Gusky. To my right is Fred Guy, and this evening your Woodland Hills Wolverines take on the Penn Hills Indians in a WPIAL Quad A semifinal matchup. The Wolverines enter the game with a record of 6-2 overall, and they're 6-1 in the SEC and have already clinched second place in a home game in the WPIAL playoffs. Meanwhile, the Penn Hills Indians are 5-3 on the year, 4-3 in the SEC, and they have clinched a playoff spot, Fred Guy, but they have yet to set their seeding in this Southeastern Conference. And because of seeding, this game is important for both these teams. For Woodland Hills, the biggest issue, they want to get one of the top 5 spots in the WPIAL playoffs during the selection show on Monday.
Yeah, as far from what I could ascertain from looking at this the seed or the standings, if Woodland Hills basically wins this game, they're going to we're looking at a 5th seed. Unfortunately, Seneca Valley has one loss to Central Catholic, which is the #1 team. So chances are Woodland Hills is looking at a #5 seed.
You know, if Woodland Hills holds chalk, everybody holds chalk, that'll be the case. And Woodland Hills has a little bit of a better shot to win this football game than they did walking in the door, because it seems unlikely that Billy Kistner is going to play. As we heard a little while ago, Billy Kistner likely out with a concussion.
And he's their primary weapon for Penn Hills on offense. You know, over 1,000 yards rushing. I think 1,107 yards was the total that I saw. And then he can also hurt you through the air as well.
And we will take our focus down to the field right now, as Penn Hills has won the toss and they have deferred their choice to the second half. Woodland Hills will receive, and Penn Hills will defend the scoreboard end zone to our left-hand side. Thank you for joining us all across the Woodland Hills Football Network for this rivalry week matchup between the Woodland Hills Wolverines and the Penn Hills Indians. And Fred, what's really so great about this last week of the season is how the WPIAL has lined up as many rivals as they possibly can, including Woodland Hills and Penn Hills.
Yeah, and they've started to do that just in the recent years. I mean, I just remember when we played, you know, we found ourselves playing Central Catholic at that time was one of our bigger rivals, but this game has turned into probably one of the premier rivalries in the WPIL. You know, with the proximity of the 2 school districts, playing each other in every sport, you know, they've become one of our most, I hate to use the word hated rivals, but that's pretty much what they are.
Coach Novak at the pregame show called it a friendly rivalry, and that seems pretty accurate. The guys really do. More than any game all season long, the guys help each other up. You know, they give each other a pat on the backside after a play. There's not jawing after the plays for the most part. This is really a really close rivalry between 2 teams that have a lot of similarities. Woodland Hills along that far sideline, they wear their white uniforms, white jerseys, white pants, turquoise numerals with the black trim, and the turquoise helmets with the black ears and stripes. Near sideline will be the Penn Hills Indians. They wear their home red uniforms, red jerseys, red pants, and the gold trim and gold numerals, and the gold helmets with the red arrows on both sides, a la the Florida State Seminoles. As we said moments ago, Penn Hills won the toss, deferred their choice to the second half. So Woodland Hills will receive, and they send Art Tompkins deep middle to return this one, I do believe, or it may be Harry Randall.
I think that might be a little bit of a correction. I thought Woodland Hills won the toss and accepted the football.
Either way, it will be Penn Hills kicking off, and it is a short kickoff. Penn Hills, I think, maybe trying to go for the surprise onside, and Woodland Hills jumps on it right away as Hassan Ghanem jumps on the football for the Wolverines. And Woodland Hills in prime field position, first down and 10 with the ball at their own 46-yard line. And I'm not sure the Indians wanted to give Woodland Hills the short field.
No, certainly not. I mean, but also with that same respect, you really have to be mindful of the returners for Woodland Hills. Art Tompkins, Harry Randall, both of them have the ability to take it to the house at any point.
Shotgun formation as Randall's going to keep it to the near side. He is met by a ton of red jerseys in the backfield, and before Randall goes down, there is actually every single red jersey on the field, and then after the play is over, flags fly, and that friendly rivalry I mentioned moments ago may not be the case as flags fly after the play, and there was a lot of screaming and hollering going on from what we could see from up here. check in with our referee.
Dead ball, personal foul on Penn Hills, 15-yard penalty, the first down.
Indian fans don't like it. And it will be a first down for the Wolverines as they will move the ball to the 40-yard line. So the 15-yard penalty, it's a loss of 1 on the first play of the game for Harry Randall.
And that negates a really nice stop by Penn Hills. You know, I was kind of surprised that, you know, that wasn't offsetting personal foul calls.
Handoff this time, Miles Sanders getting his first start after being injured, and he'll bounce it to the far sideline inside of the 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Touchdown, Woodland Hills, a 40-yard TD on Miles Sanders' first carry before being shaken up at Cannon Mac.
Yeah, I'm really surprised at this play because the cornerback for Penn Hills wasn't really blocked on that on their defensive left side, but he saw Miles Sanders coming right at him, and I don't know what he did, but he really didn't do too much because Miles Sanders ran pretty much right past him and ran right into the end zone.
Looking to that far sideline. There were some nice blocks in the open field. It must have been further away from the play than what we were able to see on that tight replay. Cassidy on to attempt the PAT out of the hold of Randall, and this one is short and no good, and it's 6-0. Woodland Hills leading Penn Hills with 11:25 to play in the first quarter. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. Yard touchdown run by Miles Sanders puts the Wolverines on top 6-0 after Donald Cassidy misses the point after touchdown. And Miles Sanders on his first carry since being hurt in the third quarter at Cannon Mac, making his presence known immediately. And incidentally, with that 40-yard carry, Fred, Miles Sanders now over 1,000 yards here in his sophomore season.
Well, I stand corrected on the cornerback comment that I made earlier. Dante Broadus came back as a wide receiver. He was out of last week's game and picked up made a really nice block that's kind of sprung Miles Sanders for the touchdown.
A kick by Cassidy will carry to the 21-yard line where it will be covered up by the Penn Hills Indians, and it'll be first down and 10 for Penn Hills rather, at their own 21-yard line. Penn Hills did a nice job with their facility here, Fred, adding the new field turf. Before this past season, they also added bleachers along the far sideline for the visiting fans. Next thing in their wheelhouse should be replacing this press box.
Yeah, it is a little antiquated. Definitely with, you know, the situation in terms of the phone lines, and just needs a modern update, but nonetheless it's a nice view of the field, certainly.
Oh, that is for sure. That actually started at the 22-yard line for the Penn Hills Indians, and the ball carrier was Malik Mathis. No, it was Taquan Troxler who came in at the quarterback spot, and Troxler is brought down 2 yards deep in the backfield and second down and 12.
Again, as we mentioned, quarterback Bill Kistner, is out for today, and Malik Mathis, another sophomore, stepping in his place.
Pistol formation, a broken play. Akara McLean knocks the ball away from a Penn Hills Indian quarterback. It was knocked away from Malik Mathis that time, I do believe, and a flag will come in late after Penn Hills picked up the loose football. And we will see what this flag is for, but the Woodland Hills defense making a huge play there, nearly getting the TD, but Penn Hills got it back.
Devin Nixon had the ball in his hands and saw all that red space in front of him and tried to pick it up, do a scoop and score, but you know, I think a Penn Hills offensive lineman was able to knock the ball free from him and subsequently fell on the ball for the recovery of Penn Hills.
Let's check in with the officials, see what this call is.
Dead ball, personal foul on Woodland Hills, 15-yard penalty, still third down.
I certainly didn't see anything that warranted a penalty. Of course, I was watching the football as the ball was knocked away from Malik Mathis, knocked to the ground there by Akira McLean. Nixon tried to pick it up, and that's when Penn Hills picked up the football, and I'm not sure what happened. Oh, yeah, I can see it at the end of the play there as Trayvon Mathis shoved a Penn Hills Indian down. And it'll be third down and 9 for the Penn Hills Indians with the ball at the 23-yard line. Snap flies over the head of the QB, and more flags down, as you can hear.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
So the false start will back Penn Hills up 5 yards, and instead of 3rd down and 9, it will be 3rd down and 14. And Penn Hills certainly having issues with getting the snap back to Malik Mathis on 2 straight plays.
That's probably one of the luckier penalties you'll ever see in the Whitfield this year, because like you said, Adam, that ball went right over his head, but unfortunately for Woodland Hills, the false start preceded the snap.
Jet motion, handoff, no handoff. It's going to be Malik Mathis off to the races, looking back for a pitch. Instead, he will be brought down at the 45-yard line. Nice ball faking there by Malik Mathis, and a first down for Penn Hills all the way out to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I was really faked out by that as well, because I didn't know who had the ball coming through the line of scrimmage. But the one thing I did notice towards the end of that run is that ball seems to be very slippery. Even the officials are having trouble with it. We've obviously seen a couple bad snaps, couple fumbles from Penn Hills. And if it wasn't for that ball slipping out of his hand.
So there's a live ball personal foul now against the Indians. And it will be from the spot of the foul, which is the 39-yard line. It will remain 3rd down, and it will be back to the 24-yard line. So 3rd down and 8 for Penn Hills. Well, the officials certainly loving their flags this evening.
I think they're trying to maintain some sort of control in this game before it gets, a little ugly.
Pistol formation. Mathis will hand off to the man coming in motion from left to right, and off to the races will go. That motion man is Taquan Trexler to the near sideline. No, the ball carrier is Isaiah Jones, who will be forced out inside of Woodland Hills territory at the 38-yard line, and a flag behind the play again. And as we look out there, Mike Ames, the 6'3 center for Penn Hills, yelling at one of his fellow offensive linemen. And let's check in with the official and see what this call is here. I'll tell you what, Fred, John Peterman not at all happy as he's giving the referee down there a earful along the near sideline.
And I can't say I disagree with him. I mean, that's been 2 really nice runs by the Penn Hills Indians, negated by penalties.
Dead ball. Personal foul on Red.
Now the official called dead ball. I believe he meant live ball penalty.
It's first down.
Oh no, they are going to say it is a dead ball penalty, and they're going to mark it off 15, not from the end of the run, but from the spot of the foul, which I find to be a little bit odd considering it was a dead ball foul. And we have some confusion here, I believe, with the sticks. And I think the Woodland Hills coaching staff may be asking for an explanation as well. As the official will now check in with Coach Novak. Fans, we appreciate you joining us all across the Woodland Hills Football Network, television, broadcast. Running pretty smoothly, unfortunately, on the radio side, having a few issues, but we're working through them as best as we can. Beautiful evening here in Penn Hills, 38 degrees, crisp, cold, if you will. It's certainly not bitter cold by any stretch of the imagination. Not a ton of wind either. And a nice evening for high school football, especially considering it's the final week of the regular season.
Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the 3rd personal foul against Penn Hills already, against 1 for Woodland Hills?
That's correct, 3-1. And we have played 2 minutes and 17 seconds of football. There's been 4 personal fouls. There goes my thought process about this being a friendly rivalry. Ball carrier up the middle will go Taquan Troxler as a helmet came off for Woodland Hills. Troxler being brought down after a 4-yard gain.
And what I've seen so far of this Woodland Hills defense in terms of withstanding the penalties, they're just really getting caught up in these play fakes by.
With 9:33 on the clock. He had a helmet off and had to stop the clock.
So the officials asked for the clock to be reset, as you may have heard. And 2nd down and 6 for Penn Hills. And the quarterback's going to keep it this time as Malik Mathis is brought down for a short gain, pickup of 2 to the 33-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Penn Hills Indians.
And that's a much better job of the Woodland Hills defense of sniffing out the play fake. Again, I was faked on that Mathis's play action because he's just doing a great job of putting the ball right to the belly of the running back or wide receiver, pulling it out as he sees a lane and trying to get as much yardage as he can.
Motion man from left to right. Mathis is going to keep it himself. He had a hole momentarily, but the Wolverines close it up. And Mathis will be brought down by Akira McLean and Dante Broadus at the 35-yard line, where it'll be 4th down and short 4th down and 2 for Penn Hills.
And it doesn't look like Penn Hills is bringing their punt team on the field, so they're going to roll the dice early in this game on a 4th down, 4th and 2. You know, you're down 6. Looks like they just went to punt formation.
And they brought the punt unit on late, I think maybe thinking that Woodland Hills wasn't going to bring their punt return unit on. They'll just keep the defense on and run Harry Randall out there for the return. And Woodland Hills is going to send a man to the sideline as a flag flies along that far boundary. This may be against Woodland Hills. How many men are on the field, Fred?
I see 10, unless someone's hiding.
Yeah, I thought Woodland Hills only brought 1 man on in Harry Randall. They sent 2 men off in Trayvon Mathis, and I also think that DeJohn Brown ran off the field. So now Mathis comes back on, so now the Wolverines should have 11 out there, as the penalty was against Penn Hills for a false start, and it's 4th down and 7 for the Indians. A high snap, and Penn Hills is going to take off running with the football as Isaiah Jones will be brought down well short of the 1st down marker. There wasn't a lot of pressure being brought on Jones. Not a great decision there, and it will be 1st and 10 for the Wolverines at the Indians' 33-yard line.
Well, the one person that Jones probably didn't want to see running through the line was number 99, James Eggleston. He seemed to have gotten either a free ride, a free run at the punter, or absolutely dismantled his blocker because he was well into the backfield as Isaiah was getting number 10. Yeah, Isaiah Jones was getting the ball. Once he saw number 99, he just decided to take off and run. And when he ran, he paid the price because Dante Broadus put a nice hit on him.
Shotgun formation, one sidecar to the left of Randall, and that is Joel Shaw. And Joel Shaw will drive the pile forward, picking up very modest yardage, maybe a half yard inside of the 33. They actually will spot the ball at the 33. I don't know about that spot. From our vantage point, Fred, it certainly looked like Shaw had picked up at least 1 when he went down.
And the interior defensive line is what's keeping Penn Hills in this game right now, because they're doing a great job of penetrating and getting the running backs into the backfield.
Slip screen to the far sideline. Art Tompkins will catch it from Harry Randall, and Tompkins will be brought down at the 25-yard line, a pickup of 8 yards on Randall's first completion of the game. They're going to say Tompkins is down at the 26. Okay.
Number 8.
So it's a pickup of 7 and 3rd and 3 for Woodland Hills.
And that's what Woodland Hills needs to do to start out their passing game. Little slip screen passes, a little flare to the flats. Art Tompkins picked up a great block by Trayvon Mathis, which sprung him for a couple more yards.
3rd down and 3. Ball at the Penn Hills 26. Sidecars to either side. Jet motion. Tompkins will take it. No, it will be Miles Sanders brought down at the 20-yard line. Nice ball faking there by Harry Randall. A pickup of 6 for Woodland Hills, and it's 1st and 10 for the Wolverines at the 20.
Yeah, Woodland Hills just ran their counter play on that last play. Art Tompkins. You got to respect him, so you need to make sure that he doesn't have the ball coming through the jet sweep. Fake to Shaw, and then Miles Sanders just picked up some nice blocking by number 54 for Woodland Hills. Will Clark did a nice job of pulling around and sealing the lane for Sanders to run through.
Off of play action, it'll be Harry Randall stepping forward, close to the first down marker. They're going to say it's a gain of 11 for Harry Randall, as he is down towards the, a gain of 7 for Harry Randall, as he's down to the 13-yard line. And that's the third time, Fred, where we've seen a ball spotted at around the 11, and this time marched back to the 13.
That's not the first time.
New.
That's nothing new with the officials. I mean, they just seem to have issues with spotting the ball. We're seeing one thing. They must be seeing a completely different thing.
Shotgun formation. Twins to either side. Randall's going to keep it. He'll have the first down following a blocker. And into the end zone goes Harry Randall for the Woodland Hills touchdown. A 13-yarder, and the Wolverines are up 12-0.
And that was a great job of Harry Randall being patient, waiting for things to open up. He got right behind number 72, Baldwin Youngblood, and once he did, he pushed him a little bit and then started Baldwin Youngblood was just really manhandling his blocker, so it was kind of easy for Harry Randall just to feed right off of that and find himself in the end zone.
So Woodland Hills going to go for 2 here, try to make it a 14-point game with 5.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. And a timeout is called. I think Woodland Hills wants to talk this 2-point conversion play over, and we'll take a break as well. With the score 12-0, Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. A 13-yard touchdown run by Harry Randall, and Woodland Hills is on top 12-0. Woodland Hills looking to go for 2 here. Shotgun formation for Randall. He'll run off of play action, rolling to his right. He'll step up into the pocket, drive his way forward, and the officials will say he did not get into the end zone for the 2-point conversion, so it will be Woodland Hills leading the Penn Hills Indians 12-0 with 5:29 to play in this first quarter. Again, you're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. You back here to UHAS McGinley Stadium in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you. Woodland Hills on top 12-0. 2 touchdown runs. One for Miles Sanders covering 40 yards. The other is by Harry Randall for 13 yards. And both point after attempts failing. And Woodland Hills on top, as I said, 12-0.
This is certainly the start that Woodland Hills wanted coming into this game. You know, despite having Penn Hills being without their quarterback, it's still a situation where anytime that you can get up 12 points early, that's always a good thing.
A low squibbing kick by Donald Cassidy will be bobbled around by the Penn Hills Indians for quite a while before finally being picked up by Christian Randall Posey. And he is brought down at the 25-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for the Woodland Hills Wolverines, or rather for the Penn Hills Indians. Penn Hills went for a fake punt on 4th and long at the end of their last possession. Let's see what they can do with football here. They had some big runs, but they were called back to U2 penalty. Ball carrier this time into open field. It is Isaiah Jones. Jones, who had a big rush, will be brought down for a pickup of 11 here. Certainly not as big as his first carry of the football game a while ago.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed from Woodland Hills and Penn Hills both is every single ball carrier seems to be carrying the ball away from their bodies. You know, and in our experience that we've seen over the years, that's always a bad thing, because fumbles can happen at any time, especially with a wet turf and a cold field.
Motion man from right to left, and the handoff will go to the back. And that ball carrier is Taquan Troxler, and Troxler is brought down for a gain of about 1 yard to the 37-yard line. Troxler 3 carries today for a total of 3 yards. There were so many penalties, incidentally, through the first drive for Penn Hills. I don't know how accurate I'm going to be unfortunately, on a lot of their individual stats. We'll check at halftime with the Penn Hill stat folks. Motion man from left to right. That motion man will take the handoff. Isaiah Jones again into open field, and he will be brought down at the 45-yard line of the Woodland Hills Wolverines. And Woodland Hills is just not making tackles when Isaiah Jones takes the ball on the jet motion.
Yeah, they've been really effective with that play. And the reason why they've been so effective is the downfield blocking of the wide receivers, and then, you know, the guard and tackle that they have pulling on that side. They're just getting good seal blocks out of their wide receivers, which is enabling them to get more yardage out of their runs.
This time the handoff will go to Taquan Troxler, and he is brought down for a gain of about 2 to the 43-yard line. Look like Chris David in on the tackle for Woodland Hills. So Troxler getting it done the hard way, has 5 yards on 4 carries. Meanwhile, Isaiah Jones, by my account, has 4 carries for well over 30 yards. Pistol formation again. Malik Mathis will hand it off to Isaiah Jones, who takes the motion from right to left, and this time Woodland Hills is there to bring him down. Deshaun Osbrooks, among others, bringing him down at the bottom of the pile. We'll find Devin Nixon. And a pickup of about 2 there for Penn Hills, and it's 3rd down and 6 for the Indians with the ball at the 41-yard line.
And you can really tell this is a rivalry game. I've been seeing a lot of extracurriculars after the whistle. We've obviously seen a lot of penalties, but what I've seen from Woodland Hills is when they get a chance to get a good hit on a Penn Hills Indian, they definitely take advantage of it.
Featherstone this time was the motion man, and the ball carrier will be Malik Mathis. And as Mathis went into the line of scrimmage, he was driven back by James Eggleston, amongst others. No gain on the play, and it's 4th down and 6. Now they're going to move the ball up to the 40-yard line, inexplicably, as the ball was spotted at the 41, and then the umpire decided I'm going to set it down at the 40 for a gain of 1, and it's 4th down and 5.
Again, Penn Hills has brought their offense back onto the field. It looks like they're going to run an offensive play this time instead of trying to go for the punt.
So 4th and 5 for the Indians, ball at the 45. Motion man from right to left is Featherstone. Mathis will roll to his right, and he will lose the football. No, they'll say he is down by contact. Deshaun Osbrooks with the sack.
And that was a great job of Deshaun finding a lane on his normal, I guess his usual run blitz, but found himself in a they found themselves in a passing situation. Deshaun Osbrooks just came right through the offensive line, pretty much untouched. And once the quarterback pivot, Osbrooks was right in his face.
So Woodland Hills takes over, 1st and 10 at the Penn Hills 48-yard line. Woodland Hills has started at their own 46, the Penn Hills 33, and now the Penn Hills 48. Pistol formation. Sanders behind Randall. Twins to the right. Handoff. Sanders looks to bounce it to the outside. Can't turn the corner. He'll step forward and be brought down about a yard deep in the backfield. So a loss of 1 for Miles Sanders. And he now has 45 yards on 3 carries. Still not a bad yard per carry average for the sophomore, who eclipsed 1,000 yards on his first carry of the evening. It's 12-0 Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills with 1:40 on a rolling clock to go here in the first quarter. Pistol formation again. Receivers to either side. Sanders is the setback behind Randall, and we'll have some movement along the Woodland Hills front line. I'm on Baldwin Youngblood with the false start. And Woodland Hills will move back inside of their own side of the 50 to the 46-yard line. Incidentally, getting back to that sack by Deshaun Osbrooks, Malik Mathis was brought down for a 12-yard loss on that play. So Penn Hills offense really not doing too much other than Isaiah Jones getting it done on the jet sweeps. Pistol formation yet again for the Wolverines. And it will be Harry Randall on the keeper, breaking free, and he will be brought down at the Penn Hills 42-yard line. A nice pickup of that play, and then a flag will come in after the play.
Wow.
Mike Ames was involved, and a Woodland Hills lineman was in there as well. I think the Woodland Hills lineman may have been baited into saying or doing something against Ames to warrant the flag.
Personal foul on Woodland Hills. 15-yard penalty. The end of the run. 3rd down.
So now we're going to go with the dead ball personal foul from the end of the run and not from the spot of the foul. So the stats will count for Harry Randall, but it will be 3rd down and 16 for the Wolverines with the ball back at the 44-yard line. So even though Harry Randall on his tally picks up nice yardage, the Wolverines face a 3rd and 18. Randall looking to pass, looking down the near sideline for Trayvon Mathis. And there was an Indian all over Trayvon Mathis. Now, Mathis had stopped looking back for the football. An Indian was there in his chest. I can see it both ways, but as a Wolverine fan, I really think that could have been a flag for pass interference.
Yeah, I thought it should have been as well, Adam. Well, I was really waiting for Woodland Hills to come out with a pass play because the cornerbacks for Penn Hills are playing very close to the line. I mean, almost bump and run coverage, and that time they had safety help, which in the last couple of pass plays that I've seen for Woodland Hills, they actually haven't.
Knuckling punt by Dante Broadus will bounce into the hands of Sean Featherstone, and Featherstone will be brought down after a modest gain. And it will be 1st and 10 for the Indians with the ball at their own 23.
Yeah, and if Penn Hills is going to start to gain any momentum in this game, they have to start. They had to actually start with that defensive stand. It was a good job of Penn Hills of stymieing the run, coming up big, quote unquote, with a pass breakup. Right now, they just need to establish something on offense that can give them some more momentum during this drive.
How did the ball get up there? Oh, it hit off of the head of a Wolverine at the 27-yard, which I saw happen, and that's fine, but why are the sticks where they are? Fred, you'll have to forgive me, but these guys are not too sharp. And the ball carrier for Penn Hills will be Isaiah Jones, and he will be brought down by Devin Nixon. And if they ever put the ball down, we'll know where the spot is. It'll be the 27, where it is 2nd down and 10 for Penn Hills.
Your score at the end of 1 quarter.
So we have played 12 minutes of flag and mistake-filled football. And Woodland Hills leads the Penn Hills Indians 12-0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians all across the Woodland Hills Football Network and MSA Sports. And we welcome you back to Uhas McGinley Stadium in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, where Woodland Hills leads the Penn Hills Indians by a score of 12-0. Penn Hills with the ball, 2nd down and 10 at their own 27-yard line. Wolverines have scored on 2 touchdown runs, one by Miles Sanders covering 4 yards, the other one by Harry Randall, a 13-yarder for the Woodland Hills QB. And Fred, this game has been loaded with penalties, loaded with the officials getting, in my opinion, too overly involved in what's going on between the lines. But Woodland Hills is certainly getting things done.
You can certainly understand why the referees are trying to keep things at bay with the penalties, because you really don't want to fight to break out against these two teams. It's a big game, it's a rivalry game, and you don't want things like a fight to happen, because if there's a fight, player gets ejected, he's out the next week, which is a playoff game, and you don't want that for either team.
And, we talked about it before the game, about this being a friendly rivalry, and for the most part it has been, but there's been some times where it seems like the Indians are trying to bait the Wolverines into saying or doing something, and a couple times the Wolverines have fallen for it.
Well, Coach Novak called it a friendly rivalry. As a player, you know that that's probably not always true. I mean, once you get to the bottom of the pile, things happen.
Oh, well.
But like I said, the chippiness really needs to, it's getting in the way of a good football game by Woodland Hills in terms of offense, because they're finding ways to put some points on the board against Penn Hills and move the ball down the field pretty efficiently.
You know, there's an old saying, familiarity brings contempt, and Coach Novak said these guys know each other, and that may be the case.
Yeah, and if that's the case, that's fine, but you really want to keep it clean as much as possible. You know, way too many flags, way too many personal foul calls right now at this stage of the game. And if it, you know, gets to be out of hand, who knows where this could lead.
Penn Hills with the football again, 2nd down and 10. The ball at their own 27-yard line, pistol formation. Isaiah Jones on the jet motion. The ball carrier instead will be Malik Mathis, and Mathis will be brought down for a gain of 3 to the 30-yard line. This triple option, very difficult to follow, Fred, especially with that motion man coming. It's much more difficult than we're used to maybe out of a wing tee or an I backfield.
Yeah, I was going to give kudos to Mathis, number 12, the quarterback for Penn Hills, because he's done a great job in terms of selling his fakes. And then once he sees that there's a lane for him open, he just tucks it and goes.
So 3rd down and 7 here for Penn Hills, ball at their own 30. It's the pistol formation with Malik Mathis and a back behind him. He'll roll to his right, has receivers open. The pass is complete, but short of the 1st down marker. A nice open field tackle there for the Wolverines. Mike Nash. And that will be a gain of 6 yards, and it's 4th down and 1 for Penn Hills on the first completed pass of the evening for Malik Mathis.
And it was a good job of Nash of coming off of his receiver and making the hit, which solidified Penn Hills not getting a 1st down on that last play.
Catch was made by Isaiah Jones for that pickup of 6. Penn Hills out of the huddle. Again, 4th down and a long one. The ball just inside of their own 36. Penn Hills going to go for it here, but movement along the offensive front of the Penn Hills Indians. Looked like Jonathan Pawlowski moved early. And the false start's going to cost the Indians 5 yards, and the punt unit most likely will come on now on this 4th down and a long 6.
And that was probably a good thing for Woodland Hills that there was a false start, because Penn Hills had trips to the left, and they only had 2 cornerbacks or 2 defenders over on this side. I don't know if the safety didn't recognize the fact that there was trips to their right side, but Woodland Hills got lucky with that last play.
High snap, but Jones able to get it away. It will bounce off the back of a Wolverine, and Penn Hills will get the football at the Woodland Hills 46-yard line. And what's mind-boggling to me, Fred, is the fact that Woodland Hills had a player jump over the football.
Yeah, he must have not recognized the fact that the ball did hit off the back of a Wolverine. And then once he saw it on the turf, everyone's screaming Peter or whatever, you know, the getaway call sign is. And
ball bounced off the back of Mike Nash, and then it was Kyra McLean who leaped over the ball, and Penn Hills has it 1st down and 10 at the 46. Indians completing a pass to the near side for Sean Featherstone, and Featherstone will pick up 4 yards to the 42-yard line. We're at 2nd down and 6 for the Indians, 10 minutes to go in the 1st half.
And it's going to be really tough for Woodland Hills to get any pressure on Mathis, because once he gets the shot, once he gets the snap from the center, he just sets his feet and throws. He's not throwing down the field, so he's not doing a 3-step or 5-step drop. So, you know, if Penn Hills can continue to be successful in the passing game, that could be a game changer.
Woodland Hills will call a timeout here, as they didn't like the defense that they had on the field in comparison to what Penn Hills was showing. So with 9:41 to play in the 2nd quarter, it is Woodland Hills 12 and Penn Hills 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 12-0, Woodland Hills leading Penn Hills with 9:41 to go in the 2nd quarter. Penn Hills with the football, 2nd down and 6 at the Woody High 42 by virtue of a punt that was inadvertently muffed. It hit off of the back of Mike Nash. Kyra McLean had a chance to fall on the ball, instead leaped over it, and Penn Hills recovered it. Pistol formation, motion man from right to left is Jones, and it will be Malik Mathis, the ball carrier, and he will be brought down near the 1st down marker. James Eggleston, amongst others, involved in the tackle for the Wolverines, I do believe. And it will be third down and about 1 for Penn Hills after a pickup of 5 yards.
Be interesting to see if Penn Hills goes under center with this 3rd and 1, or if they're going to try to fake out the Wolverine defense with the ball handling skills of Mathis.
Ball carrier that time, incidentally, was Raquan Cooper. And this time it's Mathis, the ball carrier, and he will be brought down, but picking up enough for the first down inside of the 35 to the 33.
Mathis on the keeper.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Penn Hills needs to get themselves back into this game. If they can put some points on the board on this drive, it's going to give them a lot of momentum going throughout the course of the rest of this game.
So by my tally, minus 12 yards now as Malik Mathis continues to improve his rushing totals. It's going to be Jones taking the end around, this time into open field, and he will be brought down from behind. No, the ball will be pushed away from Jones by Trayvon Mathis, but Penn Hills will pick up the football, and picking it up is an offensive lineman, Cameron Richardson, and Richardson will run it into the end zone for a Penn Hills touchdown. And Fred, by our vantage point, it certainly looked like Isaiah Jones was down along the near boundary.
Yeah, it looked like as Isaiah Jones was breaking free, Trayvon Mathis just came back and just stripped the ball away from him. The ball stayed in bounds.
Yeah.
And like you said, number 57 just picked it up. But as I was looking at the replay, it looked like his foot might have been out of bounds.
Snap high, hold down though, kick up and kick good. And with 8:30 to play in this second quarter, it's Woodland Hills 12 and Penn Hills 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Well, it's 12-7. Penn Hills trailing our Woodland Hills Wolverines with 8:30 to play in the second quarter. This touchdown by Penn Hills, a 33-yarder, and it certainly wasn't traditional by any stretch of the imagination. Isaiah Jones took the end around as he motioned from right to left. Coming down the near sideline, it was stripped away by Trayvon Mathis and then kicked forward by Isaiah Jones. As the ball comes to the near sideline, a Penn Hills Indian who picks up the football in Cameron Richardson steps on the sideline, and a touchdown for Penn Hills, but Woodland Hills looks to answer as Trayvon Mathis on the kick return will carry it all the way to the 24-yard line, and a flag flies down that far boundary. But it's still a great return for Trayvon Mathis. It's against Woodland Hills.
Yep.
You can tell by your reaction, I'm not even looking up. So I'm still trying to sort out what was a interesting, to say the least, touchdown that shouldn't have been. Is anyhow, the touchdown by Penn Hills most recently was Cameron Richardson, and from our replay, it certainly looked like he stepped on the sideline, but that will not be the case. So 2-yard fumble recovery touchdown.
And actually, the penalty was a sideline warning against Woodland Hills, so it didn't take away from a great return by Trayvon Mathis, who, once he got the ball, found a lane and just squirted right through it. And then as he was coming down the field, he was just making people miss and put Woodland Hills in a prime position to score some more points.
Ball at the Penn Hills 25 with 8:21 to go in the first half. Movement along the front line. Looks like Penn Hills may have encroached the neutral zone. And we'll check in with our referee.
Dead ball. Encroachment. Defense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
So after the encroachment penalty, it'll be first down and 5 for the Wolverines with the ball at the 20. Well, that is very interesting, as I still haven't sorted out all the paperwork from that last touchdown for Penn Hills. Woodland Hills sets up here first and 5 at the Penn Hills 20. Two receivers to the right of the formation. Hand off to Miles Sanders. Bouncing it to the near side, retreating. All kinds of red jerseys all over him. And Miles Sanders will be brought down in a very precarious position at the 30-yard line. And Sanders is writhing, and this is not good for the sophomore tailback. Folks looking at the TV replay, let's take a look here as it's clear that Cameron Richardson stepped on the sideline along this near boundary. Woodland Hills takes a knee as they look in on their sophomore tailback who went down and was twisted down by a gang of Penn Hills Indians. And the training staff taking a look at Miles Sanders as he sits up a little bit here, and his writhing certainly not good news for Woodland Hills fans. 8:06 to play here in the second quarter. Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills 12-7. We're going to take a break. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. What everybody in the Woodland Hills School District breathes a sigh of relief as Miles Sanders, who was writhing in pain and was laying at the 29-yard line after being brought down very precariously, got to his feet and all of a sudden sprinted to the far sideline. And that is a breath of fresh air on a cold evening in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. The Wolverines have it second down and 14 at the Penn Hills 29. Harry Randall setting a man in motion from left to right. Handoff will go to Joel Shaw. Shaw into open greenery, will be brought down at the 20-yard line, and it is third down and 5 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, we can probably safe to say that Miles Sanders' night is probably complete. You really don't want to risk injury at this point. You really have the second seed locked up in the conference. Now all you're doing is jockeying for playoff seeding, which, at minimum is a 6 seed. So probably best served to keep Miles Sanders on the bench, considering you have Joel Shaw, you have Art Tompkins, you have a lot of other weapons, Chris David, Trayvon Mathis, that you can use throughout the course of this game.
Motion man is Tompkins. Handoff will go to Shaw, and Shaw will be brought down after a pickup of 3 to the 17-yard line.
And it looks like Woodland Hills is going to keep their offense on the field. I mean, what we've seen out of Donald Cassidy in terms of kicking field goals really hasn't shown us too much throughout the course of the season in terms of accuracy with his field goals. So Woodland Hills is probably best served keeping their offense on the field, trying to pick up those 2 yards.
So it'll be 4th down and 2 for the Wolverines at the Penn Hills 22. Randall in the shotgun, sidecar to his right, and Shaw. Motion man from left to right. And that was Isaiah Brooks who lost the football, and Penn Hills will fall on that loose football. And Isaiah Brooks, the motion man from left to right, took the handoff and couldn't handle it cleanly. And a fumble by Brooks, a recovery by the Indians, and it's first down and 10 for Penn Hills at their own 24.
Yeah, with Penn Hills stacking the defensive line, it was probably best served that they do go with a outside running play, but I wasn't sure if Isaiah Brooks probably would have been the right guy to carry that ball in that kind of situation.
And the quarterback this time, Malik Mathis, and he will be spun down after a pickup of 3 to the 27-yard line for Penn Hills.
And he was spun down by Big James Eggleston. Once he gets his arms or hands wrapped around you, it's kind of hard to get away from him. I'm really surprised that there was no penalty flags on that, considering it kind of looked very forceful, but Woodland Hills is doing a good job in terms of keeping Penn Hills at bay right now.
And Penn Hills sees their ball carrier. In this time, it's Isaiah Jones, the ball carrier. Was it Jones or Mathis? And a Indian is down. Mike Ames falls to the turf around the 30-yard line and will be checked out by a Penn Hills athletic trainer.
And Ames went down late. I'm not sure if he stepped on someone's foot after the play was over.
Anyhow, Isaiah Jones, the ball carrier on that previous play, went from the 27 to the 33, so that's a pickup of 6 for Jones. I got to do some math here, unfortunately. So 23 plus 36 is 59, plus 6 is 65. So that's where Jones is now in the rushing category, at least by my tally as of right now. Good news for Penn Hills fans is Mike Ames, their center, is to his feet and will hobble to the near sideline. Mike Ames has certainly done his share of the jawing and also done his share of the baiting in Woodland Hills into some flags this evening. This, Fred, by the way, one of the most poorly executed football games I've seen in recent memory by both football teams, quite frankly. Woodland Hills not playing a clean game by any stretch of the imagination, and neither is Penn Hills.
Yeah, it's just the rivalry aspect is probably getting the better of both of these teams. Just really need to just concentrate on what the game plan is, execute it, and forget about everything else.
Isaiah Jones, the motion man. And it will be Mathis on the keeper, and he will be brought down in the backfield. Woodland Hills really starting to stay disciplined in their assignments in this triple option as Akira McLean makes the play in the backfield, and it'll be 4th and 2 for the Indians on the 1 yard loss for Mathis.
Yeah, and like I said before, Mathis does a great job. Malik Mathis, Penn Hills quarterback, does a great job of play faking. I can't really tell who has the ball at any point during this game because he's done a great job of keeping the ball into the belly as long as possible and then pulling it out or giving it to somebody, running or taking off and running with it.
And flags fly as the Indians moved early on 4th down and 2. And Fred, this is the second time where we've seen the Indians line up to go for it offensively deep inside of their own territory and then have an offensive lineman move. Now, their strategy may be a hard count, but you've got to stay disciplined if you want the hard count to get you the first down.
Well, if they're using the hard count, the only discipline that we've seen so far is from the Woodland Hills defensive line.
Punt unit on. Isaiah Jones will kick it away, a knuckling punt that will bounce at the 50-yard line and roll for the Indians to the 46-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10 for Woodland Hills. Again, Wolverines with prime field position. And let's see who will take the field here in the tailback spot for the white and turquoise. Woodland Hills, again, has the ball. 4:33 to play here in the second quarter at their own 46-yard line. Harry Randall gets the play from the sideline and will run into the huddle. Joel Shaw is the setback to the right of Harry Randall. 2 receivers to either side. Randall, straight drop back. He'll step up into the pocket, trying to bounce it to the outside. He'll be wrapped, and he will be brought down. Tackle on the play is number 88, Trey Reese. And Reese making the negative 2-yard stop for Harry Randall.
And that was a good job of Penn Hills' secondary of locking up the wide receivers of Woodland Hills. They put 4 guys, 4 guys out into the field, and each one of them were locked down. So Harry Randall really had no choice but to tuck and run. Fortunately, Penn Hills did a great job of sticking with Harry Randall on that tackle.
Shotgun formation, receivers to either side. Woodland Hills going to ask for a timeout here as there was 1 second left on the play clock. So the Wolverines use their final timeout of the half. Again, Woodland Hills on top by 5 here, 12-7 in a sloppy football game in a beautiful facility here in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 12-7, Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills. Wolverines with the football, 2nd down and 12 rather, with the ball at their own 44-yard line. Line to gain is the Penn Hills 44. Sidecars to either side of Harry Randall. Twins to the right of the formation. Harry Randall runs to his right, steps up into the pocket, throws down the field, has a receiver in Isaiah Brooks, but Brooks can't run underneath it, and that incomplete pass brings up 3rd down and 13.
He actually had 2 wide receivers open because Dante Broadus made a nice move around the 50-yard line and basically outran his defender. Brooks actually got open as well. I wasn't sure who he was throwing to. I thought he probably would have been better served going to the middle of the field with Dante Broadus because he had a step on his receiver or his cornerback.
So 3rd and 13 for Woodland Hills. Obvious passing situation. Woodland Hills out of the huddle. Senior center, James Rooney. Receivers 2 to either side. Randall on the shotgun sidecar to his right. Randall, straight drop back. He'll now step up into the pocket, running to the far side. He should have the first down and more. 40, 35, still on his feet, 30, and he will be brought down at the 29-yard line. And that is where Harry Randall is so dangerous. The Wolverines basically ran off the secondary, allowing Harry Randall to pick up big yardage there.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, Adam. Everyone just seemed like they took a seam and just went right down the field. Harry Randall didn't see anybody open, but he also saw a lot of green in front of him. And you give him that much opportunity and that much space to make things happen, he's going to do it.
27-yard pickup for Harry Randall, and it's 1st down and 10 for Woodland Hills with the ball at the Penn Hills 29-yard line. Hand off, coming to the near side. Art Tompkins trying to curl his way forward, and he will be driven back. And Penn Hills continuing to come after Art Tompkins long after the whistles had blown, and an audible groan comes from the far sideline and the Woodland Hills faithful. Lots of 4 for Art Tompkins on his first carry of the game.
And one of the things that I severely underestimated is the team defensive speed of Penn Hills. I mean, they just done a great job of stringing plays out, trying to get them to as close to the sideline as possible. And then once they do, and once they have the Wolverine ball carrier hemmed in, man, they bring the house.
Fred, I'm going to be honest with you. Woodland Hills hasn't seen this kind of speed since week 2, since they played at McKeesport. I mean, Upper St. Clair is fast, McKeesport's fast, Penn Hills is fast, but the rest of the opponents Woodland Hills has faced, not so much. Randall in the shotgun, looks to his right. One-on-one matchup, and it's batted away from Dante Broadus at the last moment by Malik Russell. And that brings up 3rd down and 13 for the Wolverines.
And that was a good opportunity for Woodland Hills to put some points on the board, but, nice throw by Harry Randall. Dante Broadus had a step, but that was an excellent play, an excellent defensive play by Russell, number 7, to bat that ball away at the last second, I should say.
2:09 to play in the second quarter. Clock is stopped after the incomplete pass. Wolverines with the football at the Penn Hills 32. 10 on the play clock as Woodland Hills breaks the huddle. Brought us to the near side, 2 receivers to the far boundary left. Randall steps to his left, throws deep, triple coverage, and it will be in and out of the hands of Chris David. He had it for a moment, but it was pulled away by one of the Penn Hills D-backs at the last second.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Harry Randall probably should have pump faked that ball and to draw at least the defenders, and then he had Trayvon Mathis was standing right by the sideline, right by him, all by himself. I mean, a pump fake would have helped out. I don't know if he would have completed it, but it certainly a pump fake would have helped.
So 4th down and 13 here for Woodland Hills. Their offense is on the field. This is the gray area where it's certainly too far for a field goal and too close for a punt at this point. Shotgun formation, 2 receivers to the left. Sidecars to either side of Randall. Good snap. Randall stepping to his left, throwing to his left. The pass will be completed to Trayvon Mathis, who's still on his feet and brought down at the 15-yard line for a pickup of 18 for the Wolverines.
Woodland Hills ran the very same play that they did the play prior, because what happened was David basically ran off his receivers, or his defenders, but there were 3 of them stuck there. Trayvon Mathis just did a 10 and out, or found the sticks, and Harry Randall threw a strike right at the sticks, and Trayvon Mathis was able to make 1 defender miss and then pick up the first down for Woodland Hills.
It was a 14-yard pattern on 3rd down and 13. Mathis ran it perfectly. So it's 1st down and 10 for Woodland Hills with the ball at the Penn Hills 15-yard line. Double tight end set, motion man from left to right. Handoff to Art Tompkins, sliding his way forward, and he will be brought down at the line of scrimmage at the 15. No gain on the play for Art Tompkins. Tompkins 2 weeks ago was our State Senator Jay Costa player of the game. Last week it was Trayvon Mathis. And it could have been Harry Randall and it could have been Art Tompkins last week. Those guys all played so well against the Peters Township Indians.
Yeah, I figured in this situation, Joel Shaw would be your running back behind Harry Randall instead of Art Tompkins.
Pistol formation with Tompkins behind Randall. Motion man Shaw from left to right. Randall off of play action. Looks across the middle for James Eggleston. Incomplete. The pass was low. And it is 3rd down and 10 for Woodland Hills. The first pass intended for Eggleston this season.
And that just goes to show you what kind of athlete James Eggleston has been. We all know that he's a nightmare on the defensive line. He ends up in the backfield of the opponent 9 times out of 10. But it was nice to see that that Coach Novak was going to throw him a bone a little bit, get him out into the passing route. Unfortunately, the ball was a little bit underthrown, but it was a nice route run by Eggleston, to say the least.
6'2", 285, all alone in the end zone for a moment. Randall straight drop back, now rolls to his left as he's pressured, steps up into the pocket. He could have a touchdown here inside of the 10, inside of the 5, and into the end zone for a Woodland Hills touchdown. Harry Houdini. And Woodland Hills is on top, 18-7.
Excellent job of Harry recognizing that there was nothing open down the field. He really made at least 3 defensive linemen miss because they had him in their grasp, but he made them miss. Threw the little point fake that somebody was going to throw a block, but once he saw that pylon, got himself to the outside of the numbers, and then put the ball across the goal line for the security of the touchdown.
Second touchdown of the night for Harry Randall. Cassidy on to attempt the PAT. Out of the hold of Randall. The PAT is up, and it is good. And with 30 seconds to play in the second quarter, it's Woodland Hills 19 and Penn Hills 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. A 15-yard touchdown run by Harry Randall. Puts Woodland Hills on top, 18-7. The PAT by Donald Cassidy makes it 19-7 with 30 seconds to play here in the second quarter.
And Randall is the one that really kept that drive alive on a couple different occasions. One was a pass play that was well defended by Penn Hills, and Harry Randall basically ran to the first down. The second time was a pass play to Trayvon Mathis that extended the drive and got them the first down. And this time they were in a third down situation where another pass play that they couldn't, fourth down situation that they couldn't. Harry Randall just found his way into the end zone.
Yeah, late in the drive, Harry Randall did it twice. Actually did it 3 times, Fred. He had 2 runs, both on 3rd downs, and he also had the big pass to Trayvon Mathis on 4th down. So Harry Randall getting it done tonight, to say the least. Kick by Donald Cassidy, incidentally, very short, covered up by Penn Hills, and the Indians have the ball at their own 47 here. Jet motion. Jones will take the handoff coming from right to left, and he will be hit at the line of scrimmage by Trayvon Mathis, and that's enough to slow him down. And Kyra McLean cleans it up as James Eggleston is slow to get up inside of the 45 at the 44-yard line. And Eggleston being attended to by the Woodland Hills athletic training staff back inside of the 45 at the 44-yard line. And another Wolverine, the second of the night, writhing in pain. And in a very unfortunate situation is athletic trainer Denny D'Amico and his staff out there talking to Eggleston. And you know what, Fred? We don't like to obviously dwell on injury situations here, but what I really liked to see was his position coach, John Carter. He was out there lightning quick to attend to James Eggleston.
Yeah, I mean, when that's one of your best players as a coach, you really don't want to see your best player go down. You really hope that they stay healthy, especially him being a senior. This is his final regular season game. And he's been really dominant for Woodland Hills along that defensive front.
Folks who are tuned in on the radio side, don't forget, stay tuned for the Woodland Hills Football Network halftime show. Russ Reamer will join us from the MSA Sports Studios. And, of course, folks on the TV side, we will be back with the second half for you. As, again, the training staff still looking at James Eggleston, so we will take this opportunity to take a break Again, it's Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills, 19-7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. Eggleston is to his feet, and he'll be helped to that far sideline by John Carter, the defensive line coach of Woodland Hills, also a member of the athletic training staff out there helping James Eggleston to the sideline. And Fred, you know, when it's cold like this, sometimes those injuries at first feel so much worse than they actually are. Indians with a banana bunch formation to the near sideline, and the Indians will air it out, and Trevon Mathis will intercept it at the 17-yard line. Trevon Mathis down the near sideline, brought down at the 32-yard line. I don't know what Penn Hills was doing there, but they tried to surprise Woodland Hills with the bunch formation to the near side and the throw to Malik Mathis, but Mathis threw a wounded duck down this near boundary, and Mathis with his second pick in as many weeks.
Yeah. Wounded duck might be an understatement because that was pretty much an end-over-end pass. But Trayvon Mathis just basically treated it like a punt, and he got himself underneath the ball, you know, secured it, picked up a couple extra yards. I mean, right now with 13 seconds to go in the half, best served just kneeling on the ball and getting into the locker room.
14-yard return for Trevon Mathis. Woodland Hills with the ball at the 31-yard line. Harry Randall steps under center, and he will step back, take a knee. A loss of 1 for the Wolverines to finish the second quarter. And far from a pretty first 2 quarters of action here in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, but Woodland Hills heads into the locker room up by 12 points.
Yeah, a lot of mental mistakes by both teams in the first half. A lot of bad personal foul calls, mental mistakes in terms of jumping off sides. Penn Hills did it twice on 4th and short. You know, I mean, it just really needs to, both teams really need to clean up their act, so to speak, and come out with a better second half of football.
Again, both teams heading to the locker room to our right-hand side in the beautiful Bill Fralick Center here in Penn Hills, PA. Your halftime score is Woodland Hills 19, Penn Hills 7. Folks, on the radio side, we'll be right back with the Woodland Hills Football Network halftime show. On the TV side, we'll be back with the second half. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to Uhas McGinley Stadium in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, where the Woodland Hills Wolverines lead the Penn Hills Indians 19-7 as we are set to begin the second half all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you. And Fred, you know, we talked about it on the radio moments ago. The Wolverines got it rolling here, and Woodland Hills has settled down after a rocky start in the first quarter. This has been far from a clean football game.
Yeah, numerous penalties on both sides. A lot of dead ball penalties, personal fouls. But the most important thing for, you know, Woodland Hills is they just really need to remain calm. Don't let this get out of control. Don't let it get to a situation where Penn Hills is goading them into throwing a punch, which could lead to an ejection and a suspension.
You certainly don't want to have something like that happen, especially with the playoffs coming just a week away. And Woodland Hills with this 12-point lead halfway to what we assume is at least a 5th seed in the WPIAL playoffs next Friday night.
Yeah, the other two second-place teams are Seneca Valley, which is 7-1, only lost to Central Catholic. And then Penn Trafford and Hempfield. Basically, the winner of that. Actually, if Penn Trafford wins, they seal up the second place in that conference. If they lose, I think Gateway still gets it.
They do.
And then, you know, between, you know, Gateway, their 2 losses, one coming against Penn Trafford and one coming against McKeesport last night. I'm pretty safe to say that Woodland Hills would get that 5th seed.
Well, you have to think, number one, they're late in the season, and number two, Woodland Hills lost to Upper St. Clair, an undefeated team, and McKeesport, an undefeated team, while Gateway lost to Penn Trafford, and of course they lost to McKeesport as well last night. So that obviously weighs into Woodland Hills and our assumption that they're going to have at least a number 5 seed in the playoffs. playoffs coming up next Friday night. Woodland Hills will be kicking off to Penn Hills to begin this second half, Red. And let's see if Woodland Hills can shut down Isaiah Jones. Jones, who had up near 90 yards rushing in that first half. And as he takes those jet motion handoffs, he's really getting it done for the Indians.
Yeah, and Mathis is very deceptive with his handoff, so he's actually, doing a good job of keeping Woodland Hills on their toes in terms of ball fakes and his ball handling skills.
Again, Cassidy kicking off for Woodland Hills. Back deep to return for the Indians. A pair of Indians back there deep. And Cassidy will kick this one, a low squibbing kick that will be returned from the 24-yard line by Isaiah Jones. And Jones will be brought down at the 25-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for the Indians to begin the second half.
Yeah, what I mentioned earlier about Woodland Hills taking advantage of the hard shots that they've been putting on the Penn Hills Indians. Another one came on this kickoff by Woodland Hills. Dante Broadus just, once he got the ball carrier in his sights, man, just went right after him.
First and 10 for the Indians. Again, the pistol formation. We have seen this formation exclusively. Motion man from left to right right to left rather, is Jones. And Jones will elude Wolverines for a moment and then be brought down. And boy, Woodland Hills converged on the ball as Jones was trying to escape one Wolverine. About four more came on to Jones and brought him down for a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, he couldn't get away from that one defender who just had him by the ankle, and that was it. And once they were able to slow him down, 4 other Wolverines just came and cleaned it up.
Straight up the middle this time as the handoff will go to Raekwon Cooper. Cooper, his second carry of the game. And modest gain just past the 30. He'll actually move the ball back to the 30-yard line for no gain, and it's third down and 5 for the Indians.
Yeah, again, Adam, I still see the chippiness with these two teams. I see a lot of pushing and shoving after the whistle's blown.
Rolling to his left is quarterback Billy Kistner, and Kistner will be wrapped, and he will be sacked by Akira McLean. A loss of 10 on the play, and it's fourth down and long.
And I'm really surprised that Kistner's even in this game, considering he had concussion-like syndrome, or symptoms, I should say, coming out of last week's game.
So loss of 15, and the Indians bring on the punt unit. Back deep to return. Looks to be Art Tompkins. Good snap. Jones will step into this one. A knuckler. That will take a Penn Hills bounce. And it will be down by Penn Hills at the 47-yard line. And Fred, you said it. I'm stunned that Billy Kistner is in this football game. I guess Penn Hills feels that this game is within reach, and Kistner obviously cleared to play by their team physicians. You don't want to risk a kid who is coming off of what is assumed to be a concussion a week ago if he hasn't been cleared.
Yeah, I mean, if he hasn't been cleared, then, the coach has got a lot of explaining to do. If he is, kudos to him for getting himself, getting him and his doctors getting himself ready for this ball game.
Shotgun formation, sidecars to either side of Randall. Handoff, Tompkins. Tompkins had a crease for a moment, driving his way forward inside of the 45 to the 44-yard line, a pickup of 3 for Art Tompkins.
Yeah, I thought Art Tompkins was going to slip through and maybe get a little bit more yardage than he did, but whoever had him by the lower extremities really held on to him tight because, Art Tompkins wasn't able to slip free and pick up more yardage.
Art Tompkins now 3 carries, 0 yards. His first carry was a loss of 3. No gain on his second carry. Now this pickup of 3 makes it second down and 7 for Woodland Hills. Randall, timing pattern, near side, complete. Trayvon Mathis, first down yardage and more as he'll be brought down inside of the 35 at the 34-yard line. And Randall made that one look easy on the 10-yard pickup.
Yeah, Harry Randall noticed that the cornerback on that side against Trayvon Mathis was spraying a little bit, giving him a little bit too much cushion. So Trayvon Mathis just did a 3-step post. Harry Randall hit him in stride, and bam, first down for Woodland Hills.
9:12 on a rolling clock. Randall in the shotgun, 2 receivers to his right, 1 to the near side left, and a flag comes in.
Delay of game, maybe?
It came from either the line or side judge, so that's not usually who throws that flag.
Ball, full
Okay.
start. Offense, 5-yard penalty. This is the first down.
It looks like Trayvon Mathis may have been the guilty party, as he may have flinched along the near side. Let's take a look if we can see here. And from what I can see, it actually looks like Mathis was lined up in the neutral zone. And it's the same motion by the official. Illegal procedure. And it is 1st and 15 for the Wolverines at the 39. Handoff will go up the middle. No gain on the play for Joel Shaw.
And I was looking at Trayvon Mathis as he lined up that time. It looked like he was lined up in the same position as he was the play before.
Maybe a loss of 1 for Joel Shaw that time. Shaw, 4th carry of the game. He has 11 yards on those 4 carries. Fans all across the Woodland Hills Football Network, we thank you for joining us. Especially folks on the radio side tuning in, as we've had a few technical issues, but we've worked through them. Twins to the right of the formation. Hard count by Randall. Some movement along the front by the Indians. Art Tompkins bouncing to the outside, squeaking his way forward, and he'll be brought down at the 31-yard line. A pickup of 9 for Tompkins. And it is 3rd and manageable for the Wolverines, a 3rd and 7 at the 31.
And that could have been a free play for Woodland Hills because it looked like the nose tackle or defensive tackle might have been in the neutral zone as that ball was being snapped, but there was no flag thrown by the officials.
Line to gain is the 24-yard line. Woodland Hills out of the huddle in the shotgun. Twins to the left of the formation. 1 receiver to the far boundary right. Handoff away from the strength will go to Art Tompkins, and he will be strung out and brought down a yard or 2 in the backfield. And Fred, to be honest with you, it just seems like Woodland Hills is not accustomed to seeing a team that they're playing against as fast as the Penn Hills Indians are.
No, these guys are very quick, and they get after the ball with great aggression. Once the Penn Hills defense knows that they have a person hemmed in, you'll get 5 or 6 guys coming after them relentlessly to either jar the ball loose or put a nice hit on a ball carrier.
6:55 as the clock rolls here in the 3rd quarter. Timeout called from the far boundary on this 4th and 7 play. Well, the Wolverines take a break. We'll do the same. It's 19-7. Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills with 6:49 to play in the 3rd frame. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Woodland Hills fast to the line of scrimmage on 4th down and 8. Harry Randall taking the snap, and looks like he picked up about 7. And it'll be a turnover on downs for the Wolverines, and that's the 2nd time Woodland Hills has gone for it on 4th and fairly long inside of Indian territory, and it's the 2nd time that the Wolverines give it back to the Indians.
Yeah, with very, very little faith in the kicking game right now, especially from that distance, it's kind of hard to go for a field goal. That would have been close to 40 yards, 45 yards away.
So Penn Hills has the ball 1st down and 10 at their own 25. Dejon Brown making a stop in the backfield, as Billy Kistner was the ball carrier. Kistner, who entered the game with over 1,100 yards on the ground, will come to the near sideline and get the call. We did not expect to see him in the lineup tonight.
And I didn't think Mathis for Penn Hills was doing a bad job. He was able to, effectively move the ball down the field with the offense that he had. Completed a couple passes. I didn't think this game was too far out of hand that Kistner had to come in.
Jones will take the handoff on the motion coming from left to right. Woodland Hills saw it coming, and making the stop in the backfield is Wilford Clark. And I'll say Clark actually made the stop at the line of scrimmage, and it is 3rd down and 11.
And Clark is making his presence known on defense and offense. We know he's a great guard who's done a lot of good things in terms of pulling, opening up holes for these running backs, but he's making his presence felt on the defensive side as well.
Pistol formation. Motion man from right to left is Jones. Kistner's going to keep it, go up the middle, and he will be banged around and brought down well shy of the first down flag at the 31-yard line. A pickup of 7 for Kistner. Kistner 3 carries, -9 yards after being sacked on the last Penn Hills possession by a Kyra McLean. Penn Hills brings their punt unit on for the second time here in the second half. Back to return the punt is Art Tompkins. Isaiah Jones will boot it away for the Indians. End over end punt. We'll take a Wolverine hop momentarily and then roll back in favor of the Indians inside of the Woodland Hills 30 to the 26-yard line. Wasn't the best punt in the world initially, but got a great roll for the Indians. It'll be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills and one of their worst starting field positions of the evening.
And Woodland Hills is doing a really good job defensively against Kistner, who has been lights out for Penn Hills all season long in terms of running. I mean, he's a dual threat because he can pass the ball as well. I don't know if Penn Hills is limiting the playbook based on the fact that he has had some concussion symptoms. But right now, Woodland Hills is just doing an excellent job of keeping him in check so far in the third quarter.
Shotgun formation, sidecars to either side of Randall. 2 receivers to the left of the formation, 1 to the far boundary right. Motion man Chris David from left to right. David takes the handoff to the far boundary. He'll be off to the races. 40, cutting it back, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, and he will be tracked down from behind inside of the 30 at the 27-yard line, but a big run by Chris David.
That was an excellent run. And as soon as he got to around the numbers on the field, he just hit the turn signal, made a left turn, and boom, just exploded past the Penn Hills defense and picked up really nice yardage to put Woodland Hills in Penn Hills territory.
47-yard pickup for Chris David, his first rush of the season. First and 10 for Woodland Hills, ball at the Penn Hills 27-yard line. David motioning left to right. Tompkins will take the handoff, looking for the cutback. He'll drive his way forward inside of the 25, and they'll say he's down at the 22-yard line. Pickup of 5, and it's 2nd down and 5 for the Wolverines.
And that's a really good pickup on first down. You know, you have Chris David coming back across the formation, maybe looking for the jet sweep again, but a little counter action. Tompkins didn't see anything going to the right side, cut it back to the left, and like I said, got a significant gain on first down.
Wilford Clark, great pull, great block. Wilford Clark led Harry Randall into the end zone for the first touchdown for Randall of the evening. 2nd and 5 for Woodland Hills at the 22. Counter handoff goes to Joel Shaw. The Indians saw that one coming. In the backfield making the stop, Joe Navari for the Penn Hills Indians. Well, the loss on that play of 2 yards back to the 24 brings up 3rd down and about 7 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Woodland Hills ran Joel Shaw with the counter. Typically, he's just a straightforward runner. You get his momentum rolling quick, he'll pick up some good yards on 2nd down for you.
Randall rolling to his right off of play action. Throws it down the far sideline, and it's batted away from Dante Broadus at the last second. And that's the 2nd time today where we see Malik Russell bat a pass away from a Woodland Hills receiver at the last moment.
Russell has done a great job in terms of preparation this week against Woodland Hills because he seems to basically be reading the routes that the Woodland Hills receivers are running because he's just done a great job of deflecting 2 potential touchdown passes away from Woodland Hills receivers.
So it's 4th down and 7 for Woodland Hills with the ball at the Penn Hills 24-yard line. Harry Randall and the Woodland Hills offense, 1 of 3 today on 4th down. Twins to either side. Randall straight drop back. Randall is pressured as he runs to the far side, and he will step out of bounds along the far boundary, and a flag comes in as the Indians hit Harry Randall after he stepped out of bounds.
And I believe that was number either 5 or 59.
I think it was 5, Marshall Thompson, who contacted Randall along that far boundary. Woodland Hills fans on their feet along that far boundary, and you saw them spring to their feet immediately after Randall got hit. So the run for Randall was actually a loss of 3. Excuse me? So this is going to be a foul against Woodland Hills. Randall got pushed out of bounds. He was out of bounds and then got shoved out of bounds. The flag went up. Everybody on the field thought the penalty was against the Indians. And instead, it's going to be a penalty against the Wolverines and a turnover on downs and a loss of 3 for Randall. Isaiah Jones, the motion man, coming from left to right. He'll be brought down by Kevin Solomon for a pickup of 4.
Kevin Solomon.
87 yards on the ground. As I've done some recalculations on Isaiah Jones' running tally. Penn Hills with the football at their own 46-yard line. 2nd and 6. Billy Kistner going to keep it himself, driving his way forward. 1st down yardage and more as he brings it down to the Woodland Hills 46-yard line. Pickup of 8, and it's 1st down and 10 for the Indians.
And it looks like Kistner's starting to get some continuity with this offense. You know, like I said earlier, Malik Mathis did a great job, but you know, Kistner's your guy. And if you feel that you need to get him into the ball game, so be it. You just need to make sure that he stays injury-free, especially going into the playoffs.
Here comes Isaiah Jones on the cutback. He took the handoff, motioning from right to left, cut it back to the near side, and is brought down inside the Woodland Hills 30 at the 27. And Fred, if we thought that Malik Mathis did a great job hiding the handoff, I certainly didn't think Jones had it as he was coming from right to left.
Yeah, again, these quarterbacks have done a great job so far of selling the fake. I mean, we've been faked out at least a half a dozen times, maybe more, throughout the course of this game because the quarterbacks for Penn Hills have just done a great job.
And this time it's going to be Kistner keeping it himself inside of the 25 to the 23-yard line. A pickup of 4, and it's 2nd down and 6.
You know, Woodland Hills also needs to make sure that they're mindful of the fact that Kistner can pass the ball as well. So, you know, he can burn you with his legs, but he certainly can burn you with his arm as well.
Pistol formation. Receivers to either side. Kistner sending a man in motion from right to left in Featherstone. And the handoff will go to the tailback. He lost the football, but Penn Hills recovers it. There'll be a loss of 1 on the fumble. It was Raekwon Cooper, the ball carrier. Cooper had taken the ball to the 18-yard line. He lost the ball. It was recovered by Penn Hills at the 19. So a pickup of 5 for Cooper and then a fumble and a loss. Kistner, the ball carrier this time. He'll be met at the line of scrimmage and thrown back by Wilford Clark. Let's see where they say his forward progress moved to, though. And it will be the end of the quarter. And the officials will check it out here and see if this is a 1st down or not. But again, we have played 3 quarters here in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills, 19-7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network. Set to begin the 4th quarter here at UHAS McGinley Stadium in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. Adam Gusky, Fred Guy on the call for you all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. During the quarter break, the officials measured to see if Penn Hills had got the first down on 3rd and 2, and they did not. So it will be 4th down and short for the Indians, deep inside of Woodland Hills territory. Isaiah Jones has been a real threat for Penn Hills tonight. He has 106 yards rushing. Did fumble the ball one time at the 15-yard line. It was stripped away by Trayvon Mathis and then recovered at the 2 by Cameron Richardson. Now, our television replay showed that Richardson had stepped on the near boundary. The officials did not see that. And obviously no replay in high school football, so Richardson scooped it up and ran into the end zone for the 2-yard touchdown. Billy Kistner starting the second half for Penn Hills, their usual starting quarterback. John Peterman deciding to go with Kistner instead of Mathis, as apparently Kistner was cleared to play after sustaining a concussion a week ago.
And Adam, Penn Hills hasn't had a lot of good luck on 4th down in this game. Twice they've had 4th and short situations backed up by penalties, procedure penalties both times. Woodland Hills right now just needs to stay disciplined, especially on the defensive line. Make sure that they're not trying to jump off sides on a hard count by Kistner.
Hope to see you at the Wolverina next Friday night as Woodland Hills will host a team to be determined in the first round of the WPIAL playoffs. Kickoff at 7:30. As always, our coverage will start at 7:10 p.m. all across the Woodland Hills Football Network, and we are hoping for television coverage, and that will most likely come courtesy of the Woodland Hills Football Boosters. Kistner keeping the football himself, bouncing it to the near side. He has enough for the first down. The initial play call had him handing off to Raekwon Cooper, but he pulled it out of Cooper's belly, rolled to the near side, picked up about 2 yards, enough for the Penn Hills first down, and it's 1st and 10 for the Indians at the Woodland Hills 16-yard line.
Yeah, Kistner pulled it out of Cooper's belly as Cooper was face-to-face with number 51, Kevin Solomon, but once he pulled it out, he was able to lean across the line of scrimmage for the first down.
Kistner going to keep it this time. Who had the football?
It wasn't Kistner.
How did Jones take the ball? I mean, I really never saw Jones take the football out of the hands. The fake execution by Billy Kistner is just incredible. We thought that Mathis was good at it. Let's take a look on the TV replay here. Yeah, Jones took the handoff, curled to the near side, and picked up about 4 yards. 110 on the ground by my calculations. This time it's Billy Kistner, the ball carrier, and he will be bounced around and brought down after a gain of about 2. And it's 3rd down and 5 for the Indians with the ball at the 11-yard line. Line to gain is the 6.
Yeah, for the most part, Woodland Hills has done a great job of not biting on these play fakes by Kistner and Mathis. Unfortunately, they're the ones that need to make sure that they're not biting on the fakes, because it doesn't really matter for us.
Motion man is Jones. Jones bouncing it to the outside. First down yardage, into the end zone he will go, but it's going to come back as flags came from everywhere as there were illegal blocks abundant by the team in red. Let's check in with our referee, see what he has to say. So it'll be 10 yards from the spot, and the spot of the foul was about the 7 or 8 yard line. So a gain of 3 for Jones, and then you march off the penalty from there, and it is 3rd down and 12 for the Indians with the ball at the Woodland Hills 17.
think this might be our first shot of seeing Kistner's arm in the passing game.
2 receivers to either side. Straight drop back for Kistner. He'll throw the football across the middle. It is incomplete. Chris David, the closest player for either team to the football. And that incomplete pass brings up 4th down and 12.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure if Kistner was hit as he was trying to deliver that ball, because if it wasn't, it was severely thrown behind the wide receiver on that play.
Just the 4th pass attempt tonight for Penn Hills. Malik Mathis, 2 of 3 with an interception. And Kistner now 0 of 1. 4th and 12 for the Indians. Clock stopped with 10:10 to play in regulation. Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills 19-7. Trips to the left of the formation and a banana bunch. Kistner hit as he releases the football, and it will be knocked away. The intended receiver is Mike Anthony, but retreating, leaping, and swatting is Jihad Brown.
And Woodland Hills' defense, every week somebody seems to step up in key moments, and this time is Jihad Brown. It was a nice throw by Kistner, had a wide receiver slightly open, but Jihad Brown had some closing speed on that and got his hand up and tipped the ball away from the Penn Hills Indians.
So the Indians threaten, but it's a turnover on downs. Woodland Hills has the ball with 10:05 to play at their own 17-yard line. Trips to the right of the formation. Randall in the shotgun sidecar to his left. Randall will hand off. Joel Shaw rumbling forward, brought down after a gain of 7. Make it 8. And that's where Joel Shaw is best, just running downhill.
Yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. When you put him in a counter situation where he has to take a jab step, he loses a lot of momentum going towards the line of scrimmage. That time, he just had a full head of speed, took the ball from Randall, and rumbled his way to 8 yards.
So 2nd down and 2 for Woodland Hills. Again, trips to the right. 1 receiver to the far side left. Shaw rocking forward. Harry Randall lost the football as he rushed forward. The ball is loose. Who jumps on top of it? The officials say the Wolverines got it. It will be 3rd down.
There's going to be a penalty on that play.
There was?
Yeah. Looked like Joel Shaw might have started
saw him
his
rock.
rocking a little bit early.
So there was a legal motion there. I did see Shaw rock forward. As we take a look at the TV replay here, Harry Randall had the ball stripped away from him by Eric Young, but it doesn't matter. After the penalty, it is 2nd down and 7 for Woodland Hills with the ball at the 21. Trips to the right again. 1 receiver to the far boundary left. Trayvon Mathis. Sidecar to the left of Randall is Shaw. Slip screen to Tompkins, and they are going to say it was a forward pass, so an incomplete pass for Harry Randall. Far from efficient tonight is Harry Randall. After he was a perfect 4 of 4 a week ago for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns, tonight he has completed just 3 of his 9 passes. 3rd and 7 for the Wolverines with the ball at their own 21.
Yeah, you have to remember 2 of those were batted away in the end zone, and then you just had this last one dropped by Art Tompkins. I mean, Harry Randall's, he's making nice passes. He's making good decisions. It's just not executing right now.
2 receivers to either side. Randall in the shotgun sidecar to his right, and Shaw. Randall, straight drop back, looking to his right, throwing to his right, intended for Art Tompkins. Too high for Tompkins. And the incomplete pass brings on the punt unit. I'm afraid the Wolverines were rolling coming into this game, but they have certainly sputtered to hold this 12-point lead with 9 minutes to play.
And you also have to remember that the team, with the exception of probably Bethel Park and maybe Baldwin, the teams that they have been playing, probably not up to the same caliber as Woodland Hills, Woodland Hills has done a great job of making sure that, they put enough points on the board for them to know that that's the case.
A nice punt, Featherstone off to the races for the Indians. He's tripped up momentarily, sprung loose, and then he will be brought down ultimately by Asan Ghanem, but not before a very nice return sets up Penn Hills at the Woodland Hills 33.
Penn Hills is only down 12 points. You still have 8:44 left to go in the game. You have an explosive quarterback who can do some things with his feet, with his arm. Penn Hills needs to be patient, take one play at a time, and see if they can get themselves back into this ball game with a touchdown on this drive.
Indians in the pistol. It's Kistner sending a man in motion from right to left in Jones. Kistner is going to keep it himself. Drive his way forward. Lost the football. Woodland Hills jumps on top of it. The Wolverines say they have it. And Wolverines come out of there with it. It's DeJean Brown. And that kid just has a nose for the football, Fred. How many fumble recoveries has he had in the past 2 years?
Yeah, he seems to just be around the ball, especially at key moments in the game. One time you have a pass breakup, deep in the end zone. This time there was a nice form tackle by Chris David, put his helmet right on the ball, and DeJean Brown was right there for the fumble recovery.
So Chris David forcing a fumble after having a nice run on an end around on the offensive end. Woodland Hills is going to ask for a timeout here. I think they want to try to sustain a drive here, and first down is oh so important in doing so. Again, it's 19-7, Woodland Hills on top of Penn Hills with 8:36 to play in the fourth frame. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network. Hills from the sideline straight to the line of scrimmage after a timeout called by Coach Novak. Twins to the right of the formation, sidecars to either side of Randall. Randall looking to his left. Intended for Trayvon Mathis, incomplete, and it is second down and 10 for the Wolverines. We saw that play work very well for an 18-yard gain in the first half, as Randall kind of lackadaisically just looks away from the strength of the formation to Trayvon Mathis, and this time the Indians batted it away.
Yeah, the Indians did a great job. Number 28, Cody Allen, did an excellent job of reading that play and putting himself in between Harry Randall and Trayvon Mathis and took the ball away.
Two receivers to the far side left. Woodland Hills with the ball in the center of the field. Motion man is Chris David. He'll take it on the end around to the near boundary. A flag is down against the Wolverines as Chris David will be brought down after a gain of about 11 yards. But two flags are down, as we said. One came in from a mile away, another one from the near boundary. Officials sorting things out here.
Holding, offense, 10 yards from the foul. Replay second down.
So 10 yards from the spot of the foul, so you give Chris David a pickup of 2 on the play before the penalty is enforced back to the 24-yard line. So it is second down and 18 for Woodland Hills. The line to gain is their own 42. Harry Randall gets the play from the far boundary. Halfway through the play clock as the Wolverines break the huddle. Two receivers to either side. Sidecar to the left of Randall is Joel Shaw. Motion man Tompkins. He'll take the handoff on the jet sweep to the far boundary. Tompkins looking to turn a quarter now, tries to cut it back. He'll pick up about a yard to the 25. And Penn Hills with a good open field tackle. Tackle on the play by Marshall Thompson.
Yeah, Marshall Thompson just stayed home on that last play. He wasn't faked out by anything. He just, as Art Tompkins was trying to cut back into the field, Thompson just didn't let him go. Just, excellent tackle, excellent open field tackle, like you said.
Clock ticking down to 7.5 minutes to play. Wolverines out of the huddle, trips to the right. One receiver to the far side left. Randall in the shotgun, sidecar to his left. Randall straight drop back. Penn Hills only rushes 3. Randall will step up. He'll try to spin his way away from an Indian. And with just a 3-man rush, Penn Hills bringing Randall down in the backfield. Trey Reese with the takedown.
Yeah, that's what you would really call a coverage sack by the Penn Hills Indians. They, like you said, rushed 3 defensive linemen, dropped 8 guys in the coverage. Obviously, there wasn't, there wasn't anybody open, but even still, I mean, if that's a situation where Harry Randall sees that off the bat, I think he takes the ball and just runs with it right as soon as he gets the ball.
I misspoke. Marshall Thompson on the stop for Penn Hills, and Dante Broadus boots one off the side of his foot, and a punt goes out of bounds on the far sideline at the 35-yard line. A 12-yard punt for Dante Broadus, and it's 1st and 10 for Penn Hills at the Woodland Hills 35.
Woodland Hills has given Penn Hills a lot of opportunities to put some points on the board in the second half. The Woodland Hills defense has just come up strong time after time after time with, turnover on downs, fumbles, and they just need to keep going that route in this drive as well.
Kistner curling away from play action. He'll be hit. He'll be brought down. White jerseys everywhere as they bring down Kistner at the 42-yard line.
Kistner brought down the backfield.
Loss on that play of 7 yards.
And that was very poorly blocked by the Penn Hills Indians offensive line, because as soon as Kistner went through his play fakes and tried to pivot from his right to his left, he just saw a sea of white jerseys in his face.
Fred, would you venture to say that the Penn Hills offense ran better tonight under Malik Mathis?
I think so. I mean, Kistner's done a good job in terms.
Mathis in, sacked by Dante Broadus. Broadus on a delayed blitz, and Mathis is brought down at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why Kistner's not in there on this series. It's a pretty pivotal series, in the fourth quarter. You figure you'd have your, leading ball carrier and a playmaker out there, but right now Malik Mathis is back there. And like I was going into before, I think they did a great job with him at the helm. They looked a little bit more comfortable with Kistner at quarterback, though.
So 2 straight 7-yard losses for the Penn Hills quarterbacks. Mathis, screen pass over the middle. It's caught by Julian Hurt, and Hurt will drive his way forward to the 40-yard line. A pickup on the play of 9 yards.
A little confused as to why they decided to go to the tight end on that last play instead of one of the wide receivers. You're facing a third and a mile. And the last thing you want to do is try to throw a tight end pop pass that's probably not going to fool anybody, especially with speedy linebackers like Dante Broadus and Jashad Osbrooks.
4th and 15 for the Indians. Mathis still in there at QB. Trips to the left of the formation. 2 receivers right, empty set. Mathis down the near sideline, airing it out, and it will be intercepted by Chris David. And David, they say his forward progress stops at the 5-yard line. Well, it's nice to get the pick, but I think David may have been better off just to throw that one down to the turf incomplete.
Well, he was also battling with Trayvon Mathis on that last play. Both those guys were just in the right area at the right time. Chris David just happened to have caught the ball. I mean, there's really not much you can do. You want to make a play. It's late in the ball game. You kind of want to seal your victory for your team. So I can understand where he's coming from, but like you said, they probably would have been better served of just batting the ball to the turf and getting the ball at least, better field position than what they are now.
Right. David throws that ball to the turf incomplete, and it's 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at the 40. Instead, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Wolverines back at their own 5-yard line. Wolverines out of the huddle, 95 yards away from sealing the deal. Pistol formation. It is Tompkins behind Randall. Double tight end set. Motion man from left to right, handoff. Tompkins met in the backfield, driven back. And they're going to say that Tompkins got back to the 4-yard line.
I guess the officials are being a little generous for the Wolverines this time.
Yeah, I mean, I like that it's only a loss of 1, but from our vantage point, it certainly looked like Tompkins at best got to the 3 before being driven back.
Yeah, if you're gonna, and also I kind of question Coach Novak's, ideology on this one. You got your big bruiser back, Joel Shaw, back there. you're in short yardage situations because you want to get as far away from the end zone as possible. But I don't understand why they have Tompkins back there instead of Shaw.
Randall trying the quarterback keeper this time as he runs to his left. He'll be brought down a yard deep in the backfield. So Harry Randall, 77 yards rushing today. Pair of rushing touchdowns. Clock winds, third down and 12 rather, with the ball at the 3-yard line. And Penn Hills is going to use the timeout here as finally John Peterman recognizes that Woodland Hills is doing their best to kill as much clock as possible. Timeout on the field. We'll take 1-2. It's Woodland Hills 19, Penn Hills 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. Third and 12 for Woodland Hills with the ball at their own 3-yard line. Woodland Hills has lost a yard on the first play and the second play of this drive. Adam Gusky, Fred Guy on the call for you here at Penn Hills High School, home of the Indians. The greatest rivalry in Woodland Hills history, mostly because they've played at least once a year every year for 27 seasons. Pistol formation as Shaw motions from left to right. Handoff, Tompkins bouncing it to the near side. Here comes Art Tompkins, first down yardage and more as he'll be shoved out of bounds along the near boundary at the 19-yard line. So on 3rd and 12, Art Tompkins picks up 16. 28 yards for Art Tompkins this evening. Third time we've seen Woodland Hills in a crucial situation pick up a first down on 3rd and long.
Yeah, he basically just bounced it outside. Art Tompkins bounced the ball outside. Basically had a clear running lane to the sideline and just picked up enough yardage to get that first down.
Double tight end formation, one receiver to the far boundary, left pistol. As Randall hands off, Tompkins, big hole up the middle. And he will be brought down after a gain of 8. And Tompkins is rolling now with 36 yards on the ground. That ties him with Harry Randall for the game lead amongst running backs.
Yeah, I'm still a little worried about how loosely these running backs and Harry Randall are carrying the ball for Woodland Hills. Seem to be carrying it away from his body. Gets through the line, but takes a nice shot to the hip, but that ball was, certainly away from his body and not secure as he was going to the turf.
Handoff again. Tompkins again, first down yardage and more. As he picks up 5, he needed 2. 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills, the ball at their own 33. 41 yards for Art Tompkins, and he has passed Miles Sanders for today's output by tailbacks. 41 yards on the ground.
And Woodland Hills is doing a great job on the offensive line of pushing around the defensive lineman for Woodland Hills and giving Art Tompkins some running room to prolong this drive.
Handoff again, Art Tompkins spinning his way forward, a pickup of about 2 to the 36-yard line. Penn Hills will call a timeout. 43 yards rushing now for Art Tompkins as the Indians take a break. 1:48 to play here in the 4th quarter. Woodland Hills on top, 19-7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 1:48 to play in regulation. Woodland Hills on top by 12, 19-7. Woodland Hills methodically moving the football on a drive that should seal the deal and improve Woodland Hills to 7-2 on the season, and more importantly, 7-1, second place in the SEC. Pistol formation, Tompkins behind Randall. Hard count by Harry. Randall's going to keep it himself this time, driving his way forward. There goes Harry Randall all the way to the 50-yard line, and he'll be brought down at the 49. A pickup of 15 yards for Harry Randall, and Randall now over 90 yards rushing to go, along with 35 passing yards.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Penn Hills is going to burn that final timeout. There's really no point in it. One more running play that results in Woodland Hills staying in bounds should pretty much seal the deal.
Penn Hills has one timeout left, as you said, Fred. Shaw motions from left to right. Hand off to Tompkins, looking to bounce it to this side, now looking for the cutback. He'll drive his way back to the 50-yard line, and he will be brought down for a loss of 1 as Penn Hills uses their final timeout. We'll keep it here, though, and look forward to the playoffs next week, Fred, as Woodland Hills, with a victory tonight, will be at worst the number 5 seed in the playoffs from our estimation. You know, we assume so because the Wolverines have 2 losses. They came early in the season to 2 of the top 5 teams in the WPIAL. They lost Upper St. Clair in week 1 and to McKeesport in week 2. Both of those teams are undefeated. Upper St. Clair, unless Mount Lebanon pulls out a miracle tonight, will be undefeated as well. So, you know, when you consider that, you know, the Wolverines most likely will at least get the number 5 seed in the playoffs in their home game next Friday night.
Yeah, and I believe that 5 seed would probably be matched up with the number 2 seed, which, depending on how the WPIAL decides to shake it out, could be Upper St. Clair again, and which is nothing new for either team, matching up, you know, twice in 1 year, assuming that Woodland Hills can get through the first round, quarters, and then to the semis.
The way the bracket is set up, Woodland Hills will play the 12 seed in week 1 and then into week 2, where they would likely meet up with the 4 seed, and then the semifinals, where you could see that 2 seed. Randall off of the fake handoff to the near side. He will come, Harry Randall, picking up the first down inside of the 45 to the 44. Will the officials give the ball to Penn Hills? They say Harry Randall fumbled the ball at the 34-yard line. There's a flag back here that's likely against Woodland Hills. But Fred, there was no indication that Harry Randall fumbled the ball, other than the official, after Penn Hills recovered it, pointing to the Indians recovering it.
Penn Hills recovers the fumble.
Let's take a look on our TV replay, see if we can get something more clear. Randall running to the near side. Picked up some blocks, had that first down. Fred, he was down at the 45-yard line. I bet my children's college fund on it. And Woodland Hills will take a timeout, and I guess we will do the same. 1:06 to play. Woodland Hills on top by 12, 19-7, late in the 4th quarter. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Indians on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
That is Woodland Hills last time.
For the Penn Hills Indians, the ball at their own 33-yard line with 1:06 to play in regulation. Harry Randall, the official said that he fumbled the football. But we were not able to get a good look on that last replay, but it seemed like it was possible. Pass slipped to the near side for Featherstone. Featherstone towing the boundary as he is brought down inside of Woodland Hills territory at the 44. A gain on that play of 23 yards. So Featherstone, his 2nd catch of the game. He has 2 catches for 27 yards.
And with less than a minute to play in this game, they pretty much have to air it out. Maybe try to get an onside kick if they can score right away, and then try to go back to the air again.
Mathis throwing to the far side, finds Featherstone. He eludes one Wolverine, runs to the far sideline. Chris David tries to keep him in bounds, but he'll be pushed out of bounds by Deshaun Osbrooks. A pickup on the play of 7 yards brings up 2nd down and 7.
And Penn Hills got really fortunate that Featherstone was knocked out of bounds, because with 0 timeouts left, 50 seconds to go, they don't look like they're really in a hurry to get to the line of scrimmage. So not exactly sure what Penn Hills has in mind right now.
Motion man from left to right is Jones. Mathis pressured, eludes that pressure, steps up, runs to the near side. Chris David meets him just shy of the line of scrimmage and drives him back. Great open field tackle by Davis. Deshaun Osbrooks gets involved as well. A short loss on the play brings up 3rd down and 4. And with 30 seconds to go here, Penn Hills looks to get to the line and snap it as quickly as possible. Straight drop back as Kistner looks to his right, throws to his right. It's incomplete, looking for Isaiah Jones. And it is 4th down and 10 for the Penn Hills Indians, or 4th down and 4 rather for the Penn Hills Indians, with the ball at the Woodland Hills 32. The ball was at the 33 before the last play. Oh no, it was at the 32. Taking a look at the TV replay.
And that's a name that we really didn't call too much in the 4th quarter is Isaiah Jones, who had been tremendous in the first 3 quarters of this game, but has been silenced by Woodland Hills in the 4th quarter.
Mathis bobbles the snap, looks across the middle, looks for Isaiah Jones. He had it in his breadbasket. He's hit from behind by Jihad Brown. The ball comes loose, and the Wolverines will have it on the turnover on downs, and Jones is very slow to get up.
And that's 3 plays by Jihad Brown in the 4th quarter. In the 4th quarter alone, the pass breakup, the fumble recovery, and then the pass breakup again on this last play.
Yeah, Brown put the hit on Jones to make sure he didn't come down with that football. So turnover on downs, and it will be Woody High ball here. And good news for Jones, at least he's able to get to his feet, and he will hop to the far sideline with some help. Neither team scoring here in the second half. Penn Hill certainly had their opportunities. It's not very often, Fred, that you look at a drive summary chart and find 4 turnover on downs in the same half by the same team.
Yeah, the defense of Woodland Hills has just stepped up the entire game, especially in the 4th quarter with the way that Penn Hills has been able to move the ball, even getting the ball inside their own 15-yard line. They just haven't been able to come up with anything today.
Victory formation. Randall steps under center, takes the knee, and that will do it. And the Wolverine fans counting it down as Woodland Hills is your 2013 Southeastern Conference runner-up, and they will head to the WPIAL playoffs with what we assume will be no worse than a number 5 seed next Friday night.
Yeah, it's, it all boils down Monday. Monday's the committee meeting to iron all that out, so we'll just have to wait and see what they come up with for Woodland Hills in the first round.
Well, we head to the playoffs for the 25th time in 27 years of Woodland Hills High School football. And, that's quite a feat. And Woodland Hills has not missed the playoffs since 1995. And incidentally, Woodland Hills started that magical run of going to 9 WPIAL championship games since 1996. The first championship was back in 96, and Woodland Hills has been to the playoffs every year since. They've gone to 9 championship games, and they have won 5 of them.
Yeah, there's only, I believe, 2 other teams that have a longer consecutive playoff streak than Woodland Hills. One's Aliquippa, and off the top of my head, I can't really recall the second one, but that's just an amazing Jeanette. 18 years in a row with a playoff, clinching a playoff round is a tremendous feat for any school. Woodland Hills, with the 27 years in existence, only missing the playoffs twice in that 27 years just shows what Coach Novak does year in and year out with these guys.
Well, kicking off next week, Woodland Hills will take on a team to be determined. It will be the either 12 or 13 seed in the playoffs by our estimation, and it should be a great opportunity for Woodland Hills to head back to Heinz Field for the 10th time in program history.
And a lot of these guys have experience at Heinz Field. Harry Randall, even though he was injured last year, was a key component going through the course of the season. But there's also a lot of young guys on this team as well who are going to see a lot of game action in playoff football for the first time. So it should be interesting to see what these guys can do.
Again, your final score, Woodland Hills defeats Penn Hills 19-7. Folks, on the television side, we will be back next Friday night from the Wolverina with a kickoff starting at 7:30, and our airtime, as always, at 7:10 p.m. Got to thank our television crew, our executive producer and director, Larry George. Our broadcast engineer is Lee Schaefer Jr. Camera operators, Lee Schaefer Jr., Lee Schaefer III, and Joe Slick. Alongside Fred Guy, I'm Adam Gusky. We thank you for joining us throughout the 9-game regular season here on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Again, next Friday night, Woodland Hills takes on a team to be determined in the first round of the WPIAL playoffs from the Wolverina. And as we said, as always, the coverage starts at 7:10 all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. You've been tuned in to the Wolverines and the Indians here on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network.